Hey folks, this is Coach Shanelle, and I'm here with another episode of the Dream Do Done series. Today is a request from a viewer. She wanted me to talk about professional image, wardrobe, what to wear, how I got to deciding on what I wear for speaking gigs. And so I wanted to share that information with you. For people who are new to the series, I'm Coach Shanelle, a success coach and a speaker, and I've been an advocate for women since 2009. The Dream Do Done series is focused on moving you each day by providing a daily success tip to help you hold yourself accountable and make sure that you're moving towards your dreams. Today we're going to be talking about wardrobe, and I'm going to share a little bit about what I had learned being a speaker and being an entrepreneur and what I had to do with my wardrobe. And so I thought it might be helpful to other people. So first, let me tell you the things that I was doing wrong, and then I'll tell you what I'm now doing right. So when I first started, especially with live streaming, video was somewhat new. One of my friends, Elijah Morgano, asked me to start live streaming because he said I had a lot of content and I probably should be putting that on video. And so I started to do live streaming. And at first, I was going very scripted with the videos, and I was trying to make sure that everything was in a calculated formula. And so I would do like 10 steps to this and 5 steps to that. And I think a lot of people still do that. And then I started to want to show a little bit more of myself. And I wanted people to see what it was like with me trying to, get my business started after I had left the workforce. And so I was wearing it was summertime, so I'd be wearing like tank tops and, my jeans, and I would be live streaming outside and coming out of meetings and that sort of thing. And, I really wanted to show the real perspective, because I think sometimes what people do is they'll see, me with the glossy photo shoots, but they don't know that there's the other part behind the scenes where you're not wearing the gown, you're not wearing the professional attire, you're really with your laptop, you're outside, you're having meetings and things like that. And so I was showing a lot of, like I said, me in the tank top, me in jeans, me, out and about. And, I had a friend who pulled me aside essentially, and he was telling me, that the live stream could actually be something that would be helpful to my business, and that I had to look at it a different way. And so he started talking to me about, for instance, making sure that, I try to keep something consistent from the live stream, paying attention to my wardrobe, my posture, which I'm still working on. You guys will see me doing this in videos a lot because there's a very difference when I'm doing this with you folks and when I do this. You see how different my body looks, how much longer and leaner it looks. And so when I get really comfortable in videos, it looks like I have a huge gut when I really don't. And so, things like that, he told me, making sure I have my background together, making sure that I'm a little bit more intentional with my wardrobe. And so you'll see me wearing a lot more blazers and things like that. And so, that was one thing that I had to learn. And so just because you're being casual, casual doesn't necessarily have to be sloppy. And sometimes it's not necessarily just what you're wearing, but it's also about your posture. And so the difference between doing this and standing up and doing this and leaning in is a very different perspective on video, right? And the same in person, right? And so another thing that I used to do is I really, really love accessories. And you'll probably notice that from my videos, right? And so these kind of earrings with lots of color, they kind of dangle and things like that. And those are things that I do. If I'm live streaming, or if you see me out on the weekend getting some coffee, you'll notice that I wear like long dangling earrings, and I really love that kind of jewelry. However, if I'm going to go speak in public, I do not wear that type of jewelry. I wear something that is usually a solid metal tone. So it's either silver, which I wear a lot of silver. I very, very rarely wear gold. And if it's some sort of formal event, you'll notice that I wear a simple diamond stud, or a simple silver stud in my ears. And the reason why I do that is when you're going to speak, it's about having a very consistent, streamlined look. It's about how you're captured on camera. And oftentimes you want to make sure that people aren't more focused on your jewelry than they are on what you're saying. And so things like this, where it's clinking a lot, can really get in the way when you're speaking. Here's another thing that I learned is when you wear those long chain necklaces, which a lot of women love, and I love them as well. And sometimes you'll see me have the multi-strand necklaces. It gets in the way when you're doing television appearances, because what ends up happening is you oftentimes have to hook the mic, the lavalier mic. And in a jacket like this, the lavalier mic could go right here. It could go right here, right? Which is right up underneath your mouth, right? Or it can go where they hook it through the back. It can come up here and stream down. However, when you have that chain necklace, the mic can get caught inside of the necklace, and sometimes it can be hard for them to attach it. And so I wanted to talk to especially women to say, when you're thinking about this jewelry that we love, which is like multi-strand necklaces and lots of long dangling earrings and all different colorful jewelry. That stuff is great, except for you have to consider when you're doing certain things, is that functional for that particular event? And so when you're thinking of event, make sure that that you're thinking of things that look consistent. Make sure that your accessories aren't overtaking your look, right? And then make sure that you craft a style that's reflective of who you are and what your brand is. And so, for instance, one of the things that I did was I had a very big wardrobe because I really did like to shop, right? And so as a result of that, I was a bargain hunter. I had a lot of clothing, and I really love color. And so I would have lots of bright, big colors. I would constantly be changing and wearing prints, and I really liked the funky wardrobe. And what I ended up finding out is that was not necessarily consistent with the brand that I wanted for my company. I needed something that said, not only do I like to have fun and like to have color, but that I considered my wardrobe. I put looks together. I wanted to make sure that the colors looked well on my skin tone and things like that. And so I did hire an image consultant, and the image consultant was helping me to look a little bit more like the amount of experience that I had. And so she helped me to put together what looked more consistent with a CEO presence, because I was a business owner, and I needed, when I met with people, for them to see me as a business owner. And I wanted, when I went into a speaking gig, to make sure that people saw me as the authority figure in the room. And that is one thing you need to pay attention to. And I'm not saying authority figure like you're standing up above and then you're kind of looking down on people, but more so that when you come into the room as a speaker, your presence should be felt. They should know that you're the speaker in the room. And when you're going to different events, people should know that you are a speaker and that you have a presence and that you are a business owner. And so I've gone to events, not in my city, come in, walked in the room, and just literally been, maybe waiting to find my seat, or maybe if it's a community breakfast, I would come in and be grabbing, my coffee, and people will walk up to me and say, "You're a speaker, aren't you?" And that's how I know I'm doing it right. That's when you know you're doing it right. When you don't have to go out and necessarily do a ton of promotion. You don't have to go up to everybody and say, "Hi, I'm a speaker," and "Hey, if you need a speaker, let me know." But my professional wardrobe and what I wear helps people to know. The way that I hold myself and my posture helps people to know that I'm a speaker. And one of the things that the professional image consultant helped me with was looking at the colors that I looked good in. And once she helped me to figure out the colors that I looked good in, I bought a lot of wardrobe that was consistent with those colors. So, one of the colors you guys will see me wear a lot, and it's on my nail color. I'm going to come up close so you folks can see it. And it's sort of like a burgundy or maroon, or some people might say oxblood color. That color looks very good on me, or people might even say like a wine or a Merlot color. It looks very good on me. So you'll notice I have it on my lips and I have it on my nails. And I wear that color consistently. I have that color in dresses. I have that color in heels. I have that color, obviously, like I said, in the nail polish and in the lipstick. I have that color in a long jacket, which has like a black strip on it with that color in the back in case I need to throw on some color. I have that in scarves, right? And so the reason why I have that is because I know that when I put that color on, it's going to pop against my skin tone. I know it's going to look good. And once I know something looks good and it's going to pop, I continue to wear that, right? Because why wear a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to pop? If I'm going to get caught on an image, I want it to be reflective of something that looks good on me. Another color that I look very good in is navy, which is, you see this jacket is that navy blue color. And so I wear a lot of navy blue and other blues as well. I wear royal blue, navy blue. I don't wear a lot of pastels. I have some, but I don't wear a lot of pastels. But those colors pop against my skin because my skin tone is like a lighter color. And so those colors, those rich, darker colors really pop against my complexion. And so I learned that from working with an image consultant. And as a result of that, I have that color very often. One thing I do if I'm going to an event that's like a multi-day event, especially if I'm going to be a speaker, is I make sure that my wardrobe is the same color each day. Now, it doesn't look like the exact same thing, but it's the same color. And it lets people who might be new to me to be able to pick me out easily in a crowd, right? So part of it is going to be your face, right? But when they see that color, and I usually, again, I like a pop of color, but when they see that color, they'll automatically say, wow, I love that. You have all that stuff in that color. You really look good in that color. That must be your signature color. And it lets people remember exactly who you are. And believe it or not, and I thought when I first started working with an image consultant that she was making this up, but she told me that when your look is really pulled together well, and when you're standing with the right posture, when you walk in with your head held high with confidence, that it would attract people to you. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again. I will walk into a room, when I'm dressed professionally, so I usually have on a dress and heels. I do wear heels. And like I said, I'll usually have on simple jewelry, not like this today, but like a simple silver earring. And it will attract people right to me. That color, that pop of color, nice, simple, classic jewelry, a nice heel, and people will walk right over to me. And like I do have, I usually do wear makeup when I go to events as well. And I usually like to have my hair cut fresh. Like I don't have a haircut fresh now, which I will have next week because I'll be speaking. And those are things that do attract people to you. They'll come over and talk to you. They come over and want to know who you are because that wardrobe, that color attracts that energy. It attracts people who are like-minded. It attracts people who want to talk. It attracts people's interest to you. And so that means when people start to be attracted and want to come and talk to you, you need to be willing to talk back, right? And so make sure that once when you have your wardrobe like that, that you're consistently understanding that brings people your way and that they're ready to talk. The next thing that she talked to me about was shoes. And I was a big believer. I love shoes. I had literally Rubbermaid containers full of shoes. I bought shoes all the time. A big shoe person. But I wouldn't necessarily say that I had a certain style. I just go in and find out what fit. And if I liked it, I was buying it. And what she showed me was that it was better to invest in a few shoes who may have been more high end that fit very well, that you can keep for a long period of time, than to invest in a whole bunch of cheap shoes that keep falling apart or may not have necessarily good materials or may wear down very easily on the soles. And the shoe thing was something that I would say at first I was like, oh man, you're going to take away my shoes, but I went to search, and she talked to me about different types of heel, and make sure that you understand what kind of heel looks good on you. And part of that might be, you're just going through the process of trying them on. But for me, it was a pointy toe shoe, and then I had to have a higher heel. And that allowed me to look very well. Now, I have big feet. And so I usually will have a shoe that's either a 10 or an 11. So that plays into it as well, right? And I'm also a pretty tall woman. So, I'm about 5'8" and then I wear a couple of inches on that heel. And so, I can stand with heels looking about 6 foot. So it does make a difference, what kind of shoe, I have. And so I usually wear the pointy toe. I do wear a larger heel. And I stick to brands that I know that really work for me. And so I really like Michael Kors. Those shoes are great. And I wear a lot of Michael Kors. I've worn some Calvin Kleins. I love the Calvin Kleins as well. And I also like the Calvin Klein dresses. They'll have a very good fit for me. And I've worn some other brands, but those are the ones I wear most consistently, right? And that's because I tried on shoes to see what works for me, right? And I even took pictures. So I took pictures of my shoes that I started with and pictures of the other ones, just of your foot, right? And looked at the difference that it looks like in the image. And it makes a very big difference. And so once I found shoes that were both comfortable, right? And heels can be comfortable. Don't believe the hype, right? Heels can be comfortable. And some of it is, stretching the heel out and making sure that it fits your foot, making sure that it's a good quality shoe, and making sure that you're not necessarily on it all day. You don't have to be on the heel all day. You wear it for a specific purpose. But those things really did help with the shoes. And one thing I will tell you is what actually gets me some great attention and great gigs is actually my shoes. I looked it up, and there was a study done that said that women speakers are oftentimes turned down for gigs because of their shoes. People feel like if they didn't spend and invest in shoes, that they're not necessarily making money. or that they don't value how they look. And so shoes is one thing that can actually set you apart as a speaker. And before I usually start talking, the first thing that women comment on is my shoes. It's always my shoes. They're just like, oh my God, I love those shoes. And they automatically warm up and they come up to me in conversation. They talk about the shoes, and I've gotten literally rebooked with the conversation starting with my shoes. And so I know that doesn't sound like, people might say, well, why, it should be more than that. And that's true. However, once you learn what consistently works, I guess my thing is, if you know what the strategy is and you know what actually the success formula is, why not just follow that formula? There's no need to complain about the fact that that's how it's working. If you know what's working, just follow that formula. That's kind of how I live my life, and it makes it much easier. So the next thing I want to talk about is fit. And so when you're doing, especially if you're doing a dress or a gown, fit matters a lot. And so one of the things is, I am hippie, and you might see that in the videos, right? I have very wide hips, but I'm very long and lean person. Long arms, long legs, you can see I have really big hands. And so fit really matters for me, because fit can be the difference between a dress looking like something that, should be more suited towards partying, or something looking like I literally got it tailored. And I like to go with a tailored fit as often as I can. And part of that is making sure that things fit my hips, right? Because my waist is a lot slimmer than what my hips are, and making sure that it also fits up here on your breast and your chest area. And that is something that really can make the difference with me in the wardrobe that I wear. And so I like to find brands that have some stretch to them, right? They have some stretch to them, but it has to be a high quality fabric. So something that is lined, or something that, has some stretch to it, but the fabric is a little bit thicker. I really like things that have darts in it, the darts on the side to come in at the waistline. And where the dart falls, it does make a big difference, right? And so darts is something else. If you notice the style of my jacket, where it comes in here, and I happen to have, really long neck. So I look at the style of the jacket, and there's not a lot of styles of blazers that really necessarily look good on me. There's some styles of blazers, it looks absolutely crazy on me, but other people, it looks absolutely fabulous. And so that was one thing that I had to learn, was there's a lot of things that come out with fashion. There's a lot of things that other people are wearing, but it's not necessarily for you. And being able to understand and say, that is very cute, but that's not for me. And being able to make wiser choices with your money, and wiser investment pieces, thinking of pieces as investments and not just frivolous. You end up building a more classic wardrobe that works for a bunch of different occasions. And so fit was another thing, making sure that it had a very classic fit. Like again, I said, I love the Calvin Klein dresses. I do love Nordstrom. I love Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack for dresses. And those are dresses that I wear a long period of time. But yeah, dresses, I like a sheath dress, but that happens to fit for my body. I also like a shirt dress, which again is another fit for my body, because I'm very smaller up top and wider on the bottom. So a shirt dress fits very well, and it allows me to cinch at the waist, which is very good, because it shows the difference between my waistline and those wide hips that I talked about earlier, right? And so those are two varieties that I really do love. I love an evening gown. If I have an evening gown, you'll usually see some sort of a slit. And I don't necessarily recommend a slit all the way up here. We sometimes like to do that. Now, I will be honest, I used to dress like that, but my slits aren't quite that high anymore. And again, when you're picking the pieces, make sure that you know the colors that look good on you and keep it consistent. Everything that comes out that's trendy is not necessarily for you. What is something else I wanted to talk about? We talked about the jewelry. We talked about the consistent fit. We talked about heels. Another thing that I wanted to speak about is, what are some pieces that you might want to keep in your wardrobe that could build a classic wardrobe? So first, I do wear some dress pants. I don't wear them often because, I'm hippie, and they tend to my thighs rub them out. I do like making sure that you have the style of dress pant that works for you and your body type. I do like a trouser. I have navy trousers, and I also have them in that burgundy-ish color that I told you about in And I have a red. Red is another color that pops against my skin. And I have a black. And so I keep those. And I got mine from Ann Taylor Loft. I really like the fit of Ann Taylor Loft. Now, again, this is consistent with what my brand is. And so you need to find what's consistent with your brand. But I do have some dress pants. But I typically tend to dress, if I'm going to go speak, I tend to dress in a dress because it always fits very well on my body, with it being curvy, with knowing that I'm long and lean. So it shows off that I have legs and long arms, and showcases it in a nice fashion, and works very well with the heels. So definitely make sure that you have, for speaking, make sure that you have something that works very well with color, that pops against your skin. I would recommend at least 3 of those dresses, in the colors that work for you. So like for me, I told you it was wine, that navy blue, or any sort of other kind of blue. And I do like a red. A red pops very well on me if I'm trying to do something that's a little bit more eye-catching, a red. And then I do recommend that you have a classic black dress that fits. Classic black dress is something that you can go to over and over again. It's instantly formal. Again, it works on fabric and fit. Remember, fabric and fit, and making sure that it's working with your body in a nice heel. But a black dress is something that you can always throw on for formal. You can put that with some studs, and then you're ready to go to a formal, especially if you go to an event. Sometimes when you get to an event, they might really enjoy you as a speaker, and they may sometimes have a formal event that is attached to that event. And so making sure that you pack that black dress with your heels and those studs will always have you ready to go to a formal event. Or somebody might from another organization be there and ask, are you going to be staying in town? Can you attend this formal event? And then you always know that you're there. I did talk about an evening gown if you tend to go to galas. If you tend to go to dressier function, black tie function, I do wholeheartedly believe in a gown. Again, it comes down to fit and a color that works for you. Now, I will say something that may not necessarily be popular, and I do not necessarily vote for a black gown. And the reason why I say that is because you'll notice when you go to formal functions that almost everybody in the room has a black gown. Be different, stand out. Again, wear a color that complements your skin. And so you'll see if I go to a gown, a black tie gala, I'll wear a pop of red. Again, it's down to fit, nice fabric, something that works for me, but I wear a long red gown, or I have a navy blue gown, which is formal as well. And so those colors stand out. It looks very good on my skin. I already have done that research of making sure that it looks good on my skin. It's fitted correctly. I know that it has the right length for the heel that I'm going to wear with it. And so I instantly stand out in that crowd where there's a sea of black. Just the navy blue, which isn't that far away from black, but that navy blue in that sea of black can make you stand out as a speaker. And so I do recommend a gown. You need, well, I shouldn't say you need, but I recommend at least one collared shirt, either white or another color that looks good on you. Mine is blue, because again, blue looks very good on me. So mine is a blue. It's a light blue, and it came from H&M. I got it from H&M, which is a cheaper version. You might also like Brooke Brothers. There we go. Brooks Brothers. They have great dress shirts as well. Some people like to go to Gap and those sorts of things, but a dress shirt I think is good because it allows you to be able to have a classic fit. You can wear that with jeans, so you can wear like that if you have a white shirt, a white crisp shirt with jeans or with trousers. It's a very easy go-to look to make sure that you look nice and polished, especially if somebody says something is casual and you're not really sure how casual it is. That crisp white shirt with the jeans or with some tights. I do like the tights, and I don't mean those spandexy $5 tights, because you have to clarify. I mean a nice fitted, maybe like a jegging or a tight that has a little bit more structure to the material, but that with a nice crisp white shirt that's fitted correctly can look very good and pull together. Again, with jewelry, I said very similar, simple metal tone jewelry in the color that best complements you. So if it's either silver that looks very good on your skin or gold. Most people don't look good in both, although people think they do. Most people don't look good in both. So figure out which one it is that you look better in. But with that being said, those are the things that I really do recommend. I also like scarves. I'm a big fan of scarves. It's a way for me to express myself. And one of the best things that the image consultant taught me was about scarves and being able to do that if I have a more casual top. So like under this, I have a casual top right here. And so if I was wearing this casual top by itself, I would tie a scarf to it. And so she showed me ways in which I could tie the scarf. Or being able to take a long piece of fabric and being able to drape it across you, or having a shawl when I go to events is another way to, to make sure that I'm dressed appropriately. And another thing with that is your handbag, making sure that you don't spend a ton of money on having like 20 handbags or 50 handbags. I know ladies love our handbags, but making sure that you have a consistent look that's pulled together. If you're going to do a handbag, don't have it be a handbag where the handles are all torn down and jagged. Make sure that it's a plain, consistent color, or if it is going to be a print, that it's a print that isn't too flashy. You don't need 80 handbags. You can have a few that are nice and done and that fit the occasion. Don't wear those bags that look like carry-ons. I don't know why people have handbags that big. That's way too distracting when you're moving into a different space, especially when you're coming as a speaker. So oftentimes you have to put that bag down and you'll be walking around the venue, and you don't want something quite so big because you don't always have that much space. So making sure that you have something small that goes along with your body and it's formatted correctly. I have a few that is the same consistent kind of handbag, but I have it in a few colors. Again, it goes with buying something of value that is an investment piece and not spending a ton of money on a bunch of little trinkets that are trendy. You really have to get out of that mindset, especially if you're coming to being an entrepreneur or being a speaker. You're going to be spending time on the road. You're going to be spending time building your brand. You're going to be spending time, collaborating. And so you don't really have enough time to be necessarily following every trend. If you're following every trend consistently with fashion, chances are you're not spending enough time on your business. Because if you were spending enough time on your business, you wouldn't have time to really be going from trend to trend to trend to trend. And so get to the point where you understand what your brand is about, what kind of image you're trying to project, and invest in pieces that will last long term and not in small, quick things that are just popular at the moment. But a classic, consistent brand and wardrobe will take you further than a lot of small, trendy pieces. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I hope that this was helpful. If people have more questions, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to tell you folks about things that I learned the hard way, and let you know some places that I shop and some things that I do. And I'm happy to show you some images. You will see on my page, you'll see images of me dressed and that sort of thing when I'm speaking in more formal. But I do like to let people know, because you'll see me on a video or live stream, and some days I'll have on a cardigan and jeans, and I want people to know that is not what I wear when I go speaking. But I want people to be able to understand that, casual doesn't have to be, a tank top and shorts, and dressy doesn't have to be, a flashy gown, but there is a good in-between space that allow you to be able to customize your wardrobe and do it at an affordable rate if you're really being consistent and thinking on the front end, and buying investment pieces and making sure that you're watching those pieces in those different stores that sell it and getting deals when they come on online. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I hope this video was helpful since it was a request, and I look forward to talking to you folks tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye.